Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote. If you
really?
have one, yeah.
Wow. Okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, can't tell that one either.
Because P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
Is Ashton Kutcher hiding something we all missed? And why has Mila Kunis suddenly gone quiet about her husband after the shocking details surrounding Diddy's criminal indictment became public?
He has been using his celebrity platform to advocate for but now you're telling me that his wife just moved out because of things that are about to unfold with the Diddy case.
Some shocking revelations may suggest a deep link between Ashton and Diddy that no one saw coming. But did Ashton know more than he ever let on? And could Muni be playing a dangerous game of exposure that could unravel Hollywood's most disturbing secrets?
Support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the
A lot of people have been asking why Ashton Kutcher quickly disappeared from the spotlight after Diddy's recent legal battles. Rumors of a breakup between Ashton and Mila are swirling, and their link to Diddy is raised more than a few heads. The web between Ashton Kutcher and Diddy is thick with mystery, and today we're breaking down everything we know about Ashton's role in Diddy's secret world. But it doesn't end there. The FBI is now involved.
He said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
What exactly does Mila Kunis know that could blow this case wide open? Could Ashton's role in Diddy's life have been more sinister than we ever thought? It seems like everything Ashton Kutcher touches is under scrutiny these days. But what we're about to reveal may shock even his most loyal fans. Ashton has been in the spotlight for years as the charming goofball, the hilarious guy who made us laugh on that 70 Seconds show, and the tech-savvy entrepreneur. But recent events have shown there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. First off, many people don't know that Ashton Kutcher and Diddy go way back. Shan Combs has gone by a million names over the years. He started out in the 90s in NYC back when he was P. Diddy, then Puffy, then Just Love. He launched Bad Boy Records in '93, which eventually became Bad Boy Entertainment, one of the biggest names in the music biz. And he didn't just bring any old artists with him. He brought the notorious Big Aka Christopher Wallace. That name alone was making Bad Boy Entertainment some million a year at one point.
Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive. People keep forgetting he hadn't turned 25 yet. He was still 24 when.
But here's the thing. Combs wasn't just making news because of his music. Oh no, he was all over the place. Fashion TV shows, you name it. And this is where things get interesting. Another A-lister, Ashton Kutcher, found himself rubbing elbows with Combs. Yep, that's right. Diddy and Ashton were tight.
Our relationship was really bizarre. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out, watch football together. And he came over and I was like, I'm going for a run. He's like, oh, I'll go for a run with you.
So how did these two link up? It all started with Punk to Remember, that prank show on MTV, right? But Combs didn't stop there. He also produced a bunch of seasons of Making the Band on MTV where wannabe stars competed to make It Big. And during all of this, Ashton and Diddy were often spotted together at events, parties, you name it. Ashton was a regular at Diddy's famous Labor Day white party back in 2010. You know those bougie events where everyone wears white and things probably get wild. Behind the scenes, here's a fun tidbit. When Time magazine named Ashton one of the 100 most influential people that year, Diddy gushed over him, saying Ashton Kutcher is a sounding board for me, like me, he's a mogul, a new media mogul. But we're like yin and yang. I'm in your face, and he's all cool, suave, cute, right? Fast forward to 2019, and Ashton's on Hot Ones getting cooked by Sean Evans while eating spicy wings. Of course, the topic of Diddy's famous parties came up, and let's just say Ashton had a lot of stories he couldn't tell.
Okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So,
with Diddy facing charges that include everything from trafficking to racketeering. People are now wondering if Ashton Kutcher knew more than he's letting on. Regardless, Ashton Kutcher is not innocent. You see, last year Ashton and Mila found themselves kneeling in controversy, and it's all thanks to some resurfaced clips like these. Apparently, the Cutler faced backlash, which came from them backing Danny Masterson, who has already faced legal consequences due to allegations of.
Danny Masterson has just been sentenced to 30 years to life in prison and has been ordered to register as a sex offender. A jury convicted the actor on 2 counts back in May.
After the judge's outspoken support for the accused, Christina Ricci boldly called them out, triggering a cascade of revelations about their own history in a stark white font against a dramatic black background. Christina shared her sentiments, saying, "Unfortunately, I've known lots of awesome guys who were lovely to me who have been proven to be abusers privately. I've also had personal experience with these believe victims. It's not easy to come forward. It's not easy to get a conviction on a different slide." She continued, "So sometimes people we have loved and admired horrible things might not do these things to us, and we only know who they were to us. But that doesn't mean they didn't do the horrible things. And to discredit the abuse is a crime. People we know to be awesome guys can be predators and abusers. It's tough to accept, but we have to. If we say support victims, women, children, men, boys, then we must be able to take this stance." The note ended, but Christina Ricci didn't drop any names. Her social media post left little to the imagination. Apparently named at the celebrity couple currently embroiled in a whirlwind of controversy, none other than Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, these two have been under the microscope for their unwavering support of Masteron. For context, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote to the court as character references, urging Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Charlene Omo to offer Masterson leniency in letters dated between July and August last year, after he was convicted in May of the same year for Sawi in his letter of obeyed by The Hollywood Reporter. Kutcher referred to his co-star as a role model with exceptional character and explained that Masterson was the reason Kutcher didn't fall into drugs anytime that we were to meet someone or interact with someone who was on drugs or did drugs. He made it clear that that wouldn't be a good person to be friends with at your place or M-star wrote. Kunis wrote in her letter that Masterson had been an exceptional bigger brother figure to her. She also touted his avoidance of drugs, which inspired her to stay away from substances. Danny's unwavering support for a drug-free lifestyle has been a guiding light in my journey through the entertainment world, helping me prioritize my well-being and focus on making responsible choices. The Friends with Benefits actress added. The marred duo decided to address the brewing storm with a joint video apology that hit the internet on a sultry Saturday afternoon. In their confession, they spilled the beans about how the Masters family had asked them to vouch for their 25-year acquaintance. They said,
Months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years. So that the judge could take that into full consideration.
Kutcher then added they were meant for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We regret doing that, which we never wanted to do. Critics were quick to take to X to unleash their dismay over the lawyered apology. Journalist Yashar Ali wrote on the site, "It's important to note that the letters weren't just character letters you'd write for a friend. The letters, which contained a great deal of Scientology phrasing, were intended to undermine the victims who were drugged by Danny." Another person referred to the apology as more like "sorry public." "We did not know that our letter would be read publicly. We still want to support our horrible friend in court. They are not sorry." At the same time, fans called out the irony of Kutcher's argument while running a charity that fights child.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
Kutcher co-founded Thorn with his ex-wife Demi Moore. The group collaborates with tech companies and law enforcement to combat illegal human trading among young people in the digital age. One fan commented on this, saying, "I hope no one forgot. Ashton Kutcher is a co-founder of Thorn. It is interesting that a man who claims to advocate for SA also defended a man who is accused of such a thing. Meanwhile, after all this backlash, Christina re-emerged on Sunday via Instagram stories to clarify that she wasn't referring specifically to the SIRS, although she admitted that recent events have made her think more about this. What I wrote wasn't meant to seem so pointed. She began in the post with her 1.6 million followers. It's just something I've been thinking about generally as different individuals' wrongdoings have come to light over the past couple of years. And I too have found it difficult to reconcile the person or people I knew with the things they've done, she finished. But yet yes, recent events have made me think more about this in any case. Christina's choice of words in calling the act of people discrediting victims, in this case Ashton and Mila, a crime has raised some eyebrows. Some fans think that there could be more to this story and that Christina could be hinting that these two celebrities should also be considered criminals for siding with Masterson. One fan actually posted on this saying she's right about this. They're very wrong for what they did, and their apology is not even enough. They should be punished too. But folks, this is where things get interesting. Apparently fans have received word that Ashton isn't exactly as innocent as he would like us to believe. One of Danny Masterson's accusers is taking Ashton Kutcher to the woodshed after his in-court support of his old pal and doing it by resurfacing old footage that hasn't aged. Well, Chrissy Bixler, who dated Danny back in the day but who has since come forward as one of several women to claim he dated her, took to Instagram this weekend to call out Ashton in response to the letters Chrissy posted on Instagram. Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that would end. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night. You called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I hear everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor. She said the date Chrissy is referencing is the night Ashton's then-girlfriend Ashley Ellerin was knifed in her Hollywood Hills apartment. Ashton had called her several times that night and ended up visiting her at her home. He later testified that he spotted liquid on the ground through the window, which he thought was red wine, but it turned out to be blood after assuming she wasn't home. Kutcher left Ashley's room. Michael Garulu, who was later dubbed the Hollywood Ripper, was finally found guilty of. Chrissy also sent a message to Mila, writing, I pray you begin to process what you experienced as a child on that set. Your old interviews are very telling, she wrote. In addition to this, Chrissy also posted a ton of old clips that show Ashton and his wife Mila Kunis interacting together, as well as one of Mila and Danny that certainly feels icky. One of the clips is from when Hilary Duff appeared on Kutcher's show Punk'd. The weird part of this clip comes as he introduces the child star, who was 15 at the time, Ashton said, and
she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18.
In another clip, she shared Ashton and Mila talking about the first time they met and how they first kissed on set. These clips have caused an online frenzy, with many fans demanding for Ashton to be cancelled. The people want more of these cancellations. Ashton Kutcher videos that he and Danny were clearly creeping on these young girls. We need more of this, one fan who commented. A second fan added, disgusting then and disgusting now anyway. What's truly interesting here is Mila Kunis's sudden and suspicious silence about the whole Diddy ordeal for weeks. Rumors of a split between her and Ashton have been circulating. Sources close to the couple claim that Mila is growing uncomfortable with Ashton's ties to Diddy, especially with the FBI now reportedly investigating all of Diddy's associates. Real audio from a gossip podcast discussing Ashton and Mila's split rumors could suggest Mila is cooperating with authorities behind the scenes. If so, it makes sense why she's distanced herself from Ashton. Since she has known Ashton for years and had access to his private work, she may know something explosive that could put him in serious legal jeopardy. In the world, there are even whispers that Mila has been speaking with federal investigators, providing key information that could potentially expose Ashton's role in Diddy's criminal circle. If that's true, Ashton's world could be about to come crashing down anyway. Diddy has been making headlines for weeks, arrested, locked up, and now refusing to eat, paranoid that he might be poisoned.
Reports that Diddy isn't eating while in jail, and it could be because he thinks someone's trying to poison.
Rumor is running wild that Shaw Diddy Combs might be refusing to eat in jail, afraid he could be Epsteined, taken out and made to look like a self-harm fatality. Given that his testimony could reveal secrets about industry powerhouses, sources say Diddy's paranoia is high. The rumor mill has been fueled by former inmate Larry Lavini, who claims Diddy may have stopped eating altogether because he's afraid someone might poison his food. Lavini hints that Diddy's got serious secrets on people with deep pockets and high stakes, and they might want him quiet before he can take the stand.
Bieber. Justin Bieber. Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart. Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg. Snoop. Snoop. DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled.
For some, it's simple to brush off Diddy's fear as paranoia, but for others, this is just the beginning of a much bigger story. The timing is what's raising suspicion. Diddy's test is scheduled to happen soon, and the word on the street is that his testimony could shake the foundations of the entertainment industry. His fans fear he won't survive long enough to tell his story, a fear that's intensified after the suspicious deaths of other high-profile figures who were set to testify before Diddy to make things worse for him. The judge recently denied his bail request. This is after Diddy tried to offer a whopping $50 million, as well as putting up his and his mom's multi-million-dollar mansions in Miami. Oh, and get this, he even offered up his passport and the passports of his children, including his one-year-old kid, who's barely old enough to walk. But despite all of that, the judge wasn't having it. They said, nope, you're staying put, essentially sending a message that Diddy isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Now, the part that's really mind-blowing is the sheer amount of money Diddy tried to use to buy his way out. A $50 million bond is no joke, and the fact that the judge didn't even blink and still said no just goes to show how serious Cass is. To put it in perspective, the average bail for a serious crime in California is usually around $2 million. For that, you typically only have to come up with 10%, which is $200,000. You can pay that by putting up your house or assets as collateral. But did he offer way more than $18 million mansion? And yet the judge still told him he's not going anywhere? That's wild. I've said this before, but I'll say it again, it really doesn't matter how much money you have or how flashy your life looks from the outside. What matters is how you got it. If you do shady stuff to get where you are, eventually it's going to catch up with you. It might take time, but one way or another you're going to have to face the consequences of your actions, and in Diddy's case, it looks like jail. Time is the return on his investment. So what exactly did Diddy do that landed him in this hot water? According to the indictment, which was released right after his arrest, the charges against him date all the way back to 2008. For over a decade did he manage to avoid getting caught, and that's because he wasn't operating alone. He had some very powerful people backing him up. Not only that, but he had a bunch of hotels across the country on his payroll, as well as a network of people who were responsible for making sure his victims stayed quiet. In some cases, if they weren't silent, they might have even ended up
carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy.
It turns out that Diddy was running a full-blown criminal enterprise. This wasn't just about throwing wild parties, it was way more sinister. The enterprise was involved in forced labor, transporting people across state lines, for petition capping, arson, bribery, and even obstructing justice. According to reports, Diddy used force, threats, and manipulation to get women to participate in these freak-off parties, which were not only disturbing, but were also recorded on video. Some of these parties lasted for days, and the victims had to be given 4 fluids just to recover from all the physical and emotional damage they endured. If that wasn't already bad enough, most of Diddy's victims were flown into the US and forced into these depraved acts. They didn't sign up for any of it, and Diddy and his people used all kinds of twisted tactics to control them. One of the things that came out of the investigation was that they used lots of lubricants and baby oil on these victims, both women and men, to carry out.
And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs. More than 1,000 bottles altogether.
This raid was a huge turning point in the case. For a while, it looked like Diddy might just get away with a few lawsuits and not see the inside of a prison. But now, with all this evidence stacking up against him, it seems pretty clear that he's going to be spending a lot of time behind bars. And let's not forget that this case has brought up a lot of old allegations against Diddy, including claims from people like Cassie and Jaguar Wright, who have spoken out about him in the past. One of the most interesting people to weigh in on this situation is comedian Cat Williams. If you've been paying attention to him lately, you'll know that earlier this year Cat basically predicted that 2024 would be the year of truth-telling, and he wasn't wrong. During an interview with Shannon Sharp, Cat specifically called out Diddy, saying that this would be the year he'd finally be exposed for who he really is.
All catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. All lies will be exposed.
And now here we are. So what's next for Diddy? Well, it's difficult to say for sure, given the amount of evidence piling up and the seriousness of the charges. It seems unlikely that he's going to be walking free anytime soon. The fact that he's already offered up $50 million and his bail was still denied says a lot about how grim the situation is for him. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. Diddy is looking at spending the rest of his life in prison if he's found guilty. At the end of the day, this whole situation is a reminder that no matter how much power, money, or influence you have, you can't outrun your actions forever. Diddy might have thought he was untouchable for years, but now it looks like his past is finally catching up with him. And while there's no denying that he's had a massive impact on the music industry and built an empire, this dark side of his life is casting a long shadow over everything he's accomplished. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out in court, but one thing's for sure, this is a moment of reckoning, not just for Diddy, but for everyone who was involved in his criminal enterprise, and for the victims who suffered through these horrific experiences. There's finally a sense that justice might be served anyway. That's it for this video, folks.